the 75th year of Social Security, and the reporter recently for the Associated Press misquoted you by saying you wanted to get rid of it. Now, we know that's not true. Can you embellish on your position on this very, very important topic?
That's an interesting question, Charlie. If you back it up a little bit, the government used to collect $100,000 and they'd pay out about $80,000 and ratio up times the number of people. Now, one would think that that extra $20,000 of the people's money would have been put in an interest-bearing account and grow it for the future. And in the same thing, after 5 years of a 20 grand surplus, you'd have 100 grand. Well, if they had managed the system that way, that fund today would be worth about $8 trillion in the fund. Instead, what Congress did is they went in and took the 20 grand surplus out and they spent it. And as far as I'm concerned, they stole it from the seniors. And all they left was an IOU from Congress. And so an IOU from the Congress of 1994 is worthless. I mean, they've just stolen the money. So I look at the way Social Security has been managed, and it's just the perfect example of why government can't be allowed to run things, is because they just don't run them for the intended purpose. If Social Security was for seniors and retirement, that money should have gone into Social Security and retirement, and that fund would be almost self-sustaining today. But instead, Congress stole the money, and now we're stuck, and now future generations are going to have to bear the cost of the present system. I mean, it was like 20 payers for one payee when it started. It's down to 3 to 1 now, but the reality is it was down to like 5 to 1 in the 50s. So Social Security has been dead since the 50s, but it was a cash cow for Congress. And so when Congress isn't honest with the American people, and when our representatives let this happen, this is just the perfect example of why we can't let government run things. There just isn't enough oversight. It's not possible to oversee everything the government can do to mess it up. And so when you look at Social Security, if we're going to collect the money, it has to go in an index fund. And if you just take the money and put it in an index market fund, doesn't require any management. A simple clerk making $20,000 a year can retire after 40 years with $1.4 million in the account. Never be in poverty again with that system.
What do you feel are some of the major challenges facing this particular district as we head up to this election?
There's jobs, and more jobs. I mean, we're dealing with a district that's dependent on government so long that it's led to the complete destruction of the community, the complete destruction of the family, the complete destruction of the very human spirit that allows government to control people. And the end result is that the jobs have left the neighborhood. You got a 50% dropout in schools. Gang infestation is so bad the streets are not safe to walk. And turning this around is not going to be easy. But I have a 2-year body of work in the streets, and I think I know what the answers are.
Tell us about your view concerning the role of people who are in the House of Representatives.
And I think we need to redefine the job as congressman to much more of a board of directors type position that looks over the district, works with state and local office holders to make things work, and look for ideas that work from other congressmen who have, you know, different experiences throughout the country, that somebody has to be paying attention. And I'm kind of stuck if the state of California passes taxes that drives business out of my district. I'm stuck when the mayor of LA passes a tax that drives business out. So I think Congress needs to spend more time in the district and less time in Washington and sitting down with people going, hey, this isn't going to work. Because right now there's just nobody over the whole thing. And within a district, that's a role a congressman can play. And where the government at the federal level could make a contribution, and there are many of those things, particularly in the gang area. I think if government policy ruined everything, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect government to pick up a little bit of the cost of the fix. But fundamentally, somebody's got to start making government work. And a real possibility for the congressman is to be that person. Because you get to be in Washington, you get to talk to your local assembly. And the last thing we have to understand with government is that bureaucracy is the worst form of management there is. And business was ruthless in the 60s and 70s in driving out bureaucracy. But it's the only management system available to government. because government doesn't have the profit motives and the watchdog systems that business has. I mean, business has to make a tax return. Business has to make a profit. People in business watch every dollar, and people know they can get ahead by saving dollars and creating dollars. And we have to put more work into making.
Now that the official election campaigns are up and running around the country, some people here say that you're waging an uphill battle in a heavily Democratic district. What's your reaction to that?
That this contest is not about party, it's about jobs and education and safety in the streets. And people are fed up with the status quo. And they really are. And they want more for their families, and they're ready to follow a new leader. America is the second greatest story ever told. And conservatism is the greatest governing philosophy in the history of the world. And the American dream appeals to everyone, Democrats, Republicans, vegetarians, old, young, all ethnic groups, you name it. It's the universal solvent. And freedom beat the British Empire, so don't tell me it can't beat Maxine Waters.